To start your Chris Uphues heart, you'll need a piece of paper with a heart traced on it in pencil. First, start by turning it over and write your name on the back in the middle. We will be cutting these hearts out, so if you put your name in the corner or below, then it might get cut off. So make sure your name is in the middle. And don't forget to write your class code below your name. Then we're going to add a fun, silly face to our heart, like the artist Chris Uphues. You can use this example sheet for eye examples and mouth examples. Chris Uphues likes to spread happiness and positivity with his artwork. So we want to make sure that the face we're drawing is not scary or angry looking. It should give off a positive energy. It's okay if it's a little bit silly or goofy, but it should make someone happy when they look at it. I'm drawing these kind of upside down U-shape eyes, and I'm giving mine some eyelashes. But you can come up with your own eye shape or use one from the example sheet. Then I'm going to draw a little curve for the nose and a smile. And I'm going to add the tongue hanging out. I'm also going to give mine a few freckles. That's just a fun little detail that I'm adding. It's not something that you have to do. The next step is outlining this with black Sharpie. I'm going to use a thick black Sharpie to outline most of my drawing, but I'll use the regular Sharpie to outline the freckles and maybe the eyelashes because they are a smaller detail. First, I'm starting by outlining the edge of the heart, so the heart shape that was originally on your paper. Remember when you're using the bigger Sharpie markers that they have two sides you can draw with. It's called a chisel tip because it has two different widths that you can create. If I hold my marker this way, I get a thick line. If I hold it this way, I get a thinner line. So I'm trying to keep that in mind when I'm outlining. Now that everything is outlined, I can take an eraser and erase any extra pencil lines to make this look a little bit neater. Make sure that in the eye shape that you have part of it left white. Your eyes shouldn't be fully colored in. Chris Uphues always chooses a direction for the eyes to be looking. Think about, are your eyes looking up, down, to the side? Now, before we add any color, our next step is cutting out our heart. So I'm cutting right next to the black outline that I drew. I'm not cutting on the inside and cutting my black outline off. That would look a little bit funny because I just spent time drawing that outline. So cut right next to your black line. The next step is adding some color by painting. I have two different sets of paints here. I have some neon tempera cakes and some regular watercolors. I'm going to use a little bit of both to paint my heart. If you have any special details like a tongue, then you're going to want to paint that a different color than the color you choose for the rest of your heart. You're also going to want to keep the whites of the eyes white, so we need to paint around those things. So I'm going to paint the tongue in red, and then I'm going to paint the rest of my heart. For my heart, I'm going to use a combination of purple, pink, and maybe a little bit of blue. Chris Uphues usually picks one color, maybe two, that are blended together to fill in his heart. So I'm not picking a bunch of colors, but maybe up to 2 or 3 colors that you can use on your heart. You can also just choose one color to paint yours in. I'm going to use the wet on wet watercolor technique to blend some of my colors together. You can paint an area of your color first so that it is wet. So I have some purple there, and now I'm going to drop some pink into that purple. And you're going to see the colors blend together when you do this. And sometimes you may need to add a little bit more of your first color. So this is called wet on wet. And I'm going to continue doing this until I fill in the rest of my heart. Being careful to paint around the eye shapes and leave the white part white. Now I'm all done with my Chris Uphues heart because it is all painted in. When you're done, you can put yours on the drying rack with your messy mat to dry. I hope you had fun learning about the artist Chris Uphues and creating your own heart inspired by him.